Hey learners, welcome to Manifested Online Classes. So I'm Masimboya. So in the previous lesson, I introduced to you the parts of speech in English. We said that the parts of speech are 8 in number, and we discussed each part of speech, giving an explanation of what the part of speech stands for or what role it plays in a sentence. I gave examples, and where necessary, we constructed sentences to show how it is used in the sentence. So we particularly talked about nouns as the first part of speech. We talked about verbs, we talked about adverbs, we talked about adjectives, we talked about pronouns, we talked about conjunctions, prepositions, and lastly, we talked about the interjunctions. So from now henceforth, from this lesson to all the other lessons, we'll be discussing each part of speech independently. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the nouns. So remember, I said the order had been arranged from the most important, like the ones that we use are very common within the language. So we had started with nouns. So that is what we're going to be talking about in our today's lesson. So we're going to be talking about the nouns. So I hope you can remember what we had said about nouns, especially the definition that we gave of what qualifies a word to be a noun. So I hope you remember that, but I'm going to remind you that we said a noun is a name of either a person, a thing, a place, a feeling, an idea, or an animal. So every word or any name that is used to define either of those things that I've talked about qualifies to be a noun. So in this particular lesson, I'll give the definition, which I've already done. And number two, I'm also going to give you the different types of nouns that we have in the English language, because we do not only have one, we have a variety. We have different types of nouns. So we are also going to be discussing those different types of nouns. And I'm also going to give the rules that guide in which instances are you supposed to use nouns? How are they supposed to be written? Do you start with a capital letter? Do you start with a small letter? And so forth. So first, I've already given the definition. So we've said, so they are names. They are names of people, places, animals, things, feelings, and also ideas. So all those words that you come across that are used to define either of these, either it's a name of a person, it's a name of a place. Like for example, we have names of cities, we have names of towns, we have names of villages. All those are nouns because they give us they represent names of places. So we also have animals, like we have cows, we have goats. All those animals that we have are their names represents nouns. We have things, we talked about pens, we talked about books, we talked about desks. We have feelings, for example, when you say that you're sad, for example, when you say that you love somebody, for example, when you're angry at somebody. All those are nouns. They are used to express the feelings that you have, So basically, that one becomes a noun. So we already have now the definition of what a noun is. So now basically we're going to be discussing through the different types of nouns that we have. So we have so the types of nouns. So the first type, we have what we call the concrete, and we also have what we call the abstract nouns. And then on to the second one, we have what we call the common and the proper nouns. And then we also have what we call the collective nouns. And then we have what we call the countable and uncountable nouns. So in general, we have 7 types of nouns in the English language. So if you notice, concrete is a class by itself, and abstract is also another class by itself. The reason why I've written them this way is because concrete and abstract nouns are related. The difference is only, there's a very slight difference between the concrete and the abstract nouns. So that means we are going to be discussing the concrete and the abstract noun together, and then go and discuss common and proper nouns also together, because the difference between those two classes of nouns is a very small difference. I will point it out as we discuss. And then the collective nouns are a unique class by itself. So we will be discussing the collective nouns independently. And then the same thing happens with these ones, countable and uncountable. So they are different, yes, because you see I've used a comma to show that this and this are not the same things. But the difference is just a very slight or a very small difference. But as we discuss, I will point out the differences. So in this particular lesson, I want us to concentrate on these 4 types of nouns. That is, we'll talk about the concrete, the abstract, the common, and the proper nouns. So first and foremost, I'm going to start, of course, with the definition. What is a concrete noun? What qualifies a noun to be a concrete noun? So